General news is coverage of an individual news event or issue, single or multiple pages. So it does have to coalesce around one, like a singular news event or issue, which can still be quite broad. But again, keep in mind we're judging by the editing. So if things feel superfluous, that should speak to your judging as well.
And this is, sorry, I was paying attention, but also this is for the whole page or just for the story?
This is actually going to be for an entire story. So you should be seeing multiple pages as part of the news story. Like this one, I believe, has 6, and there will be 12 total projects. So let's just zoom through these.
Cool.
But we're only paying attention to the photos that are related to the story, right? So not the other photos on the page.
Yes.
Okay.
Are these supposed to be black and white?
Most likely, yeah.
I believe.
Yeah,
so.
okay. Okay.
Can I see that 4th spread again? It's a hard read for me. What am I looking at there?
Yeah, could we zoom in slightly? Whoa.
Oh, it's a reflection. Okay.
That is, sorry, I shouldn't be speaking.
No, I thought it might be a reflection.
What a cool image. Okay.
Okay. I'm sorry. Can we just pause on the front page just a little longer so we can see what the story is about? Okay.
Can I see the second page larger, just real quick? Thank you. Thanks. What is this?
Sorry. Yeah.
Where are we in the world? Is this a?
Well, that's Minneapolis Star Tribune. So.
Okay, it's the Minneapolis Star Tribune.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
And these 2 front pages are both part of the same story.
Oh, they are. Okay.
That's helpful to know. Actually, yeah. Is there a description, like, Dante?
Yes, there is.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe could we try that as well
Yes.
for these at the top of each one? Thank you.
Absolutely. Do you want me to give the descriptions for the past 2, or do you want me to start with just this one?
Actually, if you don't mind, can we just to give everybody the same fair shake?
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so the description for this is President Joe Biden is inaugurated as the 46th president of the United States, and Vice President Kamala Harris becomes the first woman, first Black person, and first Asian American to hold office. On January 20th, 2021, in Washington, D.C., the inauguration took place amidst extraordinary political, public health, economic, and national security crisis, including the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic and former President Donald Trump's attempts to overturn the 2020 United States presidential election, which incited an attack on the United States Capitol. End of caption. Okay, and the caption for this next story is the death of George Floyd rocked the nation, reckoning with racism racism after millions around the world watched in horrors as the Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin knelt on Floyd's neck for the 9 minutes until he died. The murder conviction of Chauvin brought closure to many who felt it was a momentous day in the fight for justice. And the description for this is Brooklyn Center police officer Kimberly Potter shot and killed 20-year-old Dante Wright during a traffic stop in April 2021, igniting a city traumatized by racial inequities. Community members and activists responded by protesting for several days at the Brooklyn Center Police Department. Potter killed Wright as the world awaited a verdict in the murder trial for fired Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin. George Floyd was killed by Chauvin in May 2020. Photos by, and then I cannot provide the names of the photographers. End of caption. Would you guys like a caption for this as well?
Yeah,
Yes,
and could you also
please.
Okay.
zoom in? So, oh, this is the disappeared people. Is that this?
All right, project description. Nearly 100,000 people have disappeared in Mexico. Their families now search for clues among the dead. Photographs by Fred Ramos, sorry, for the New York Times.
It's okay, don't worry about it. But yeah, I think description at the top of that each project would be super helpful. Thank you.
Project description. Tyler Hicks, a New York Times photographer, has captured the arc of Afghanistan conflict through at least 30 assignments since the American-led invasion in 2001 that routed the Taliban. In July, he traveled to the western city of Herat, the northern city of Mazar-e Sharif, and the capital of Kabul, just weeks before the cities fell, when the anxiety about Taliban takeover was intensifying. This is his chronicle of those critical weeks. Project description. The trek from Central America to US soil has always been perilous, but a massacre with many victims from the one corner of Guatemala has shaken that country. Photographs by, provide photographer's name.
Just to clarify, that the front page there, is it just the top photo or also the bottom one as well? Just the top one.
Looks like just like one. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nearly every week, workers in blue uniforms have been recovering more decomposed bodies from the reddish-brown soil of the 8-acre Haroda farm, mounting evidence of possible war crimes committed by the Khani brothers and the local militia they'd formed to subjugate Tarhuna. And then the rest of the caption is just credits to photographers and editors. If roads can be the chroniclers of a nation, transporting not just passengers and goods, but also the stories, aspirations, and fears of people, then the 300-mile journey from Kabul to Kandahar on National Highway 1 unveils Afghanistan's past, present, and future in all its catalysms and yearnings. And the rest of the caption is just credits. In harsh desert terrain and the outskirts of Marib, Iran-backed Houthi rebels are fighting the internationally recognized government, backed by Saudi-led military coalition for control of the strategic stronghold in the country's north. And the rest of the caption is just credits. Description for this. The attack, a new look into what happened before, during and after January 6th, published as a 28-section on November 7th, 2021. The January 6th siege at the US Capitol is neither an accident nor an isolated event. A three-part investigative series by the Washington Post reveals through a new reporting how law enforcement officials failed to heed mounting red flags of violence on January 6th, documents the bloody consequences of President Donald Trump's inaction during the siege, and shows how deep distrust in the voting process has taken root across the country. And the rest is just credits. The demands or change resounded. The actual progress, fitful at best. In the summer of 2017, Vanessa and her family had their lives upended when Aurora police came to their home and brutalized her. Her kids and mother heard it all from the back room as officers grabbed her by the neck, threw her to the ground, and dislocated her shoulder as they hogtied her. A year later, she received a $100,000 settlement from the city of Aurora. The money was a welcome help with bills, college tuition, a rare vacation, and a car. But today the settlement money is mostly gone, and she's left with this trauma of that dark day and arduous healing process.
Did those pages come in like that, or did they get cropped on the sides?
This is how they're displaying in our system.
Okay.
Hard to say.
Yeah. Okay.
It does look like something was cut off, but maybe it was like gutter space, or it doesn't appear like any of the photos are cut off unless others are seeing differently. It is really hard to tell.
Yeah. Like I'm wondering on that third spread, that photo on the bottom left,
Mhm.
that's the one that's making me question.
Yeah, possibly. Unfortunately, I think we have to work with this. That looks like it was the last project. Do we want to do a quick round of ins and outs, or we could even, if there are ones that stood out to folks, we could cut even quicker.
Let's do
Can
ins
we-
and outs.
Yeah,
It's a lot to try to remember everything.
yeah, it's
Totally.
true.
Yeah, this was a lot.
I was wondering if maybe even for the future, we might be able to like provide final judges with these earlier, and you can kind of go along with it on your own computer too.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I
and
will-
reminder, you can keep note of each project based on that number, if that would be useful. The 4-digit number after BOP02. Ins and outs for
Excuse
this. I
Sorry.
think
Obviously did not have enough coffee today.
so. Same. But ins and outs for this, do we want to, does anyone need to look at it closer?
Let's say out.
Out.
I keep it in. Sorry. Sorry to be contrary.
Don't be sorry.
Yeah.
No.
That's the whole point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
we need two ins.
Oh, sure, let's keep it in. I think they made some good choices.
This is in for me too, but
Yeah. I'm say in.
Yeah, I think they made good choices here too.
Okay.
This one's an in for me.
This is all one project?
Hmm.
yeah, I have a hard time with
Ah.
that, actually. It took me a while to realize that, actually.
I think it's all, since it's all related to that case.
One, yeah,
That's
one.
what it
Yeah.
is.
So we allowed them to enter it as one project essentially. So it's like various days of coverage.
This is an in for me.
I think it's an out for me, honestly.
I think we got two ins and one out.
Okay.
Oh, that's an in for me. Not, I wish all of the spreads, like some spreads are great and some are less great. I wish they were more even. This is confusing to me because the layout is just crummy, I think. I mean, what do you think?
I'm not a fan of the layout. I really like the images though.
The project's fabulous, the images are great, but this layout for me is like, what are we doing here? It's like, it feels like it was made for digital, but we're shoehorning it into a print layout.
Yeah. I think it's a limitation of space.
Yeah,
Yeah,
That's
that's what it feels like.
yeah.
I'm
so what
guessing
are we
also,
judging on?
well, I'm guessing they're also just trying to turn your expectations upside down by making the situational pictures small and making the, artifact kind of pictures large, but
You're also looking at it in the context of a newspaper. This is a
Mhm.
really bold departure from how newspapers are normally presented.
yeah.
Yeah, actually, can we see it larger? That might help.
Just a note on that, it is, it is being judged on newspaper, like print coverage of an individual non-news event.
Yeah, but is it like a layout or is it like the
I just
concept and execution?
Or is it
you
all
know
of
what I
those
mean?
things?
It's all those
I'd-
things.
I'd say again, it's, you guys are asking some good questions. Because it's so not black and white, but I do think you have to weigh the context of it. Like this may also be in the digital project category, right? Like we don't know, we haven't reached that section yet,
Right,
but
right.
should be judging it in the context of its print and print,
Mhm.
cousins here against it.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
with a focus on the photographs and the editing that's going into this.
I'd
which I-
like to
Okay, well,
see this
bigger, when
stay.
it's bigger, it's helpful.
You
Let's
said
keep
that
it.
it's for non-news.
Yeah,
Sorry.
What did
I
you
think
mean
I
by
was-
non-news?
I may have been reading the wrong one. We're
Yeah,
on,
I think-
we're on
okay.
general news. So individual news event or issue.
right.
Okay.
Oh, this is
Yeah.
much better when it's bigger. Okay,
Yeah, I would keep it in.
yeah,
Yeah,
let's keep it. Let's keep it.
Uh-huh.
it's a really strong project.
Yeah.
It's curious that they went with an illustration to open the story.
The photo illustration.
Yeah.
On the front page, yeah.
Yeah, that seems curious to me.
Mhm.
I'm out with this one.
Same.
I'm out with this one too.
I'm sorry. I'm trying to. Oh, this is the Afghanistan story, right? So
Right.
I'm having a hard time seeing it right now.
I know,
It's
it's
so
so
tiny.
hard.
I think it
Yeah.
actually got a little tinier. Oh yeah.
Oh,
There we
that's better.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
I just feel like it's so messy. It's just, I would have been happier with less, you know. But
Is that 3 outs?
I think it's
Yeah.
2. Did we
Oh.
get 3?
Sorry.
I'm out.
There we go.
Great.
oh, it's Guatemala.
Mhm.
Oh, I'm out of this one too.
Same.
Can I see that page bigger?
Yeah, I was going to ask the same.
This page here.
Yes.
Right.
Yes, please. I'm going to say in for now.
I actually think I'm going to say out. But I do really like the large images, but
Everything else feels too cramped.
yeah, that's how I feel.
You
Just
can't really appreciate the images.
yeah, that's how I felt too.
So is that 3 outs?
Mm-hmm.
I think so. Yeah.
Can we get a zoom in? Hmm.
I think I'm out on this one.
I think I'm out as well.
See what they're trying to do. Can I see that front page again? Oh boy. This was like right on the edge for me.
Like it.
Did you say yes, Emily?
Yeah, I like it. I also like, I know we're not supposed to be judging this, but I like the way those two images are playing together on that first, on that, on A1 there.
Yeah, I'll say yes to this.
Okay.
I really like this one.
I
This
really
is a
like this
yes.
one too.
I think it's
Yeah.
really strong.
Really good.
I agree.
This is Yemen, right?
Mhm.
It's just a single spread.
Just the one.
Oh, okay.
This is a no for me.
I'll say yes.
I'll also say yes.
Yeah, I think I'm a yes too on that one.
This one's a yes for me.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
This one's a no for me.
Is it just this one page?
No, I think there's more.
Okay. Oh yeah, this one. Yeah, this is a no for me.
Yeah, no. This is a yes for me.
Yes.
Great. How many did we end up with?
Oh, 9.
What?
Wait, really?
Too
Yeah.
many.
Okay.
How did that happen? Let's get out of
Any-
this.
Round two.
Any that y'all want to be a little more ruthless with that don't feel like they, I guess, stand up to the rest that's here?
The first one,
The inauguration package.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fine.
Okay.
I
would,
think one
I
of
would
those-
lose the oh, I'm trying to point at my screen as if you could see it. VA 53.
This one?
Yeah, I would lose that one.
I like that one.
I like that one too.
I do too.
I think you've been overruled, Shaminder.
That's okay. That's the
Any
whole point
other
of
would
this.
want to
I
propose?
would pick between the 2-star
Tribune packages.
Tribune packages. So that's 0-1, that one, or the other Tribune package, which was this one.
I want to keep
I think
this
the-
one, let go of the other
Okay.
one.
I like the other one. I just feel like this is just so kind of hodgepodge, but
So this is the one outlier in this whole category because it's a multi-day package, right?
yeah, I know.
Yeah.
So how do
guess
you
I-
judge this one
I know,
compared to
because
the
I
others?
thought we were kind of looking at it as a cohesive, unified whole and seeing how that held up against. And I feel like the other one is so much more, unified. Obviously, it's easier because it's just a one-day thing, but
So should we just drop this all together then? Since it is such an outlier in comparison to everything else.
I think we should talk about it for a second, just to like
sure.
narrow down, like, how do we judge something like this? Because we can't use the same criteria that we're using for everything else. There is no cohesive package, right? It's like, I'm sure there were multiple editors who worked on this, multiple photographers, multiple designers. How do you judge a multi-week I mean, this went from incident to conviction to where does it end?
Right.
Like, scroll down a little, please. So it
And
goes
I-
from conviction all the way till jail sentencing, right? So
sentencing, yeah.
we're talking months.
Mhm.
And we did, make the choice to allow them to submit this because it felt like it was still around a news issue. But, I believe like other contests have done like single day versus like several, I don't know exactly what the
Mhm.
category is, but that could have been a way to separate it. But also, like, I think they're the only ones who did submit something like this, right, in this way.
I
In a
just think-
way, because
ahead.
the Washington Post piece also does a retrospective
Yep.
of, but theirs is a little different, right? Because they're looking back and they are editing as if it were a package.
Yeah.
This is ongoing coverage.
Right, it appeared in real time as they went along, whereas the Post one was all done at once, right?
Mhm.
But to me, it's just so uneven, it just like some of the pieces are really strong and some of the pieces are really weak. So I just feel for that reason alone, I wouldn't want to see it knock out anything else.
I think I kind of was drawn to this because I like the variety of imagery that I'm seeing in this package versus the Derek Chauvin conviction. Like, that's important. It's definitely a historic moment. I'm gonna keep sounding like a broken record, but again, I've seen pictures like that when these convictions come down.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm seeing images in this package that you don't typically get to see when we're talking about police violence against Black people in America. So I'm kind of leaning towards this because I just think there's more variety visually.
I like the idea, but some of them are just really so like we've seen it a million times before, but anyway.
I think this is the issue with this one though, is it doesn't fit. It's a square peg, right? It doesn't fit in with the rest because you can't judge it by the same criteria.
I think this should just get dropped.
Were you saying something to Emily?
Yeah, like Emily.
No, it's okay.
Okay.
Well, actually, yeah, could we kind of see the black and white spread? Can I see that large? Can you scroll down for a second? Yeah,
I think another way to view this too is like by breaking this mold of submissions, did they increase the impact of how they were trying to tell the story of this issue, or did they decrease it? And I think you all might kind of disagree a little bit, right?
I think so.
Like for you, Elizabeth, it sounds like the impact was decreased because some photos just weren't strong enough
Right.
to make the cut. And for you, Ariana, maybe it increased it because it gave more context or variety or newness.
Yeah, I think it's really that it gave more context and it gave more variety. There are definitely the like visual tropes that you see of this sort of documentation of this event in this package. But that's not all you see. And I think that's why I'm drawn to it. I also think too, part of the reason I like this package is it's actually really important to see the arc of this police officer abused their power, murdered someone, and got convicted for it. Because that's a new thing that doesn't happen very often. So to see the scale of that story in this way feels far more affecting than there was a conviction.
here's what I really like about it. This is a story that everyone covered, but this was hometown story, hometown coverage. These photographs are photographed for them. These aren't pickup. So it's like looking at how they're editing, you know, from the beginning to the end, how they're commissioning, who they're commissioning, why they're commissioning, and the direction that's happening on the ground in live time, which we kind of get with some of the Times photos, but like these, when they do these multi-page spreads, they're pretty great. It's the single, for me, it's the single pullout on the front that's where it says Potter convicted. That's my least favorite choice
Right.
there.
I agree.
Yeah.
And the one after is not so great.
No,
No.
but so I'm torn because I feel like we should be celebrating what this is and what this is accomplishing.
But I feel
Yeah.
as if you're saying that it was commissioned by them. It's a hometown paper. That to me makes it even less excusable that it's so uneven. You know, it's like if they had complete control over it from beginning to end, why wasn't it more consistent in terms of the quality, you know?
I mean, this all looks really consistent to
Oh,
me.
I think some of it is just so weak, you know?
Layout is consistent, cropping is consistent.
The Potter convicted is pretty bad.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I mean, yes, I don't think there's any denying that.
It sounds like something that's factoring too into the decision here, though, is like the journalistic choice to be covering this over a course of this long and to have it be front page news and photo heavy spreads. And I think that's like a nice consideration too, is like
Yeah.
not just the artistic quality of the photos, but the journalistic decision.
Yeah, I just like I can't think of seeing this kind of invested coverage of an event that's both hyper local but super national, given this much time to like breathe and grow. And that feels really important to be discussing right now.
Do y'all feel this rises to top 4 now that we know that we are limited to 4?
Maybe.
You know, not for me, but obviously.
Here's the
So-
thing here's the thing I was trying to like, and I'm glad this conversation is happening, because this is what I really hope that NPPA takes away from this is you need a category for this kind of stuff.
Yes.
Because we're comparing apples and oranges right now. Like you're comparing projects where people can take weeks and months to do a retrospective on, and it's more of a magazine approach, or you're doing daily coverage, right? And it's a continuing story, and you have a paper to put out every night, and it's got to be on people's doorsteps in the morning, and you're giving people incremental updates and keeping the story in the zeitgeist. So that
just-
picture
just
where it
to
says Potter,
clarify.
I'm sorry?
Just to clarify, the other ones are also daily news stories.
They are, but if you look at the types of stories that they're talking about, they're not daily stories.
Well,
They're-
some of them are, and probably some of them are not.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, it's
Right, like
this is just a different
but
animal.
for the-
section. Go ahead.
well, you were saying the Potter convicted does its job. Like it's a photo that's doing its job, is what you're saying.
Oh yeah. For Potter,
Yeah.
I'm saying it's not the strongest image, but it's the perp walk. That's what you get on that day when someone's convicted in a courtroom. If you're in a courtroom shooting, you have basically one or two angles to shoot from. It's very restricted, and that's the news of the day. That's what you're going to run. And that's how you're serving your readers, right? They want to know what happened in that trial, and your job is to help inform them.
Could we possibly look at the Washington Post package of the insurrection that is similar in scope? Just to kind of contextualize this, because that's the only other thing that is kind of similar out of what we're looking at. And I wonder if discussing through that
Or is
specific
the other
package.
Star Tribune, is the other Star Tribune one? I mean, can we narrow down between Star Tribunes?
That's a way to go.
Maybe we continue with trying to see what we can eliminate, see if we can get our list of 9 down to
Okay.
something smaller. And then
Let's try that. And your point, Sheminer, is definitely not lost on me. I think it'd be great to continue the conversation after this and do a little retrospective to see how the categories can be slimmed down or bolstered. Because I know it's been through some changes in the past. So the next one we have. Oh, right. Is this one?
I'd like for this to stay.
Yeah, I thought we had already decided. to
you
keep
guys
this one,
did.
but-
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, next one then.
this is the one I could lose, but
Okay, let's lose it.
Yeah.
Wait,
Easy come, easy go.
I'm sorry, can we go back to that very first page again? Oh, I see. Okay, that's all right. I just wanted to see. I did really like this one. but-
I think this is
too.
fabulous.
Yeah,
I think the editing is it's just really well done.
Yep.
too.
this one then.
And it is that kind of journey structure, you know.
This is gonna be tough.
Yeah.
This is a
Mhm.
very strong category.
Mhm.
I think so too.
Yeah, this one might be my favorite, actually.
I think it might be mine too.
Do we have any other first contenders? We want to knock that out of the way? Or do we want to keep discussing?
Should we,
I don't
did we
think we went
finish
through 'em
going through
all.
everything? Yeah, I think we
Yeah, let's
should
go
keep
through
going
everything.
Just so I can remember what else is, oh, right.
Oh, Yemen.
This one dropped out, didn't it?
I think there was either a close tie or enough to keep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the single
I
page
think-
one, I believe.
This can drop for me.
Yeah, I liked it, but I feel like it's not as strong as what we just saw of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have 3.
This is a really
Drop
tough
this one.
section.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. It's hard. Yemen is hard.
Okay,
This
this
one
one,
is so
this-
big.
Yeah.
I know.
it's
there's
massive.
so much.
Yeah.
And there are some spreads where I'm like, what is happening?
I know. I thought
Yeah.
it could have been better. I mean, I love the fact that they tried to be so comprehensive, but I felt like it wasn't as strong as it could have been, but
Can we just page through and see
Yeah.
where we are? Like, why are there so many pictures on every page? And then I can't stand the centered photo. I cannot stand this picture in the middle. Sorry.
There is a lot of repetition of the same, same kinds of pictures. I mean, I guess because of the
Yeah.
subject matter, but
But I think the storyline, it's more of a timeline.
Yeah.
I think you're right. Yeah.
It does feel slightly bloated
Yeah, exactly. Just a
on the
little,
page. I think
little-
like, one or two images probably could have been lost from each page.
yeah, just a little too much repetition for me, but
Yeah, agree.
I'm sorry, what was that contagion? I was just curious, is
Further
that,
back.
yeah, so
The
it's
stronger
a metaphor.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure it wasn't something to do with the pandemic. But, so, okay.
Like one image here would have been so strong.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And none of these. How big is this actually when we see it? Not to get in the weeds, but this is like but here I am in the weeds. How big are we
broadsheet.
talking here?
It's a broadsheet, right?
Yeah.
Right?
I think it is, yeah, like a
Full
tablet.
page broadsheet.
Okay, cool. It's not in the magazine or something, right? Okay.
Mm-mm.
I think we can keep moving.
Does it
So
stay in or out for y'all?
I mean, I could drop it because I admire the ambition more than I admire the execution. But
That's
I
kind
don't
of where I'm
know.
landing too. I like some of these spreads I could do without, and then there are some spreads that I think are really fucking good.
yeah.
Yeah, this is I'd like for this to sit so we can consider what's left.
fine. Sure, it's fine. So you want to keep it? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I just like to see it once we've
Sure.
dropped
no,
everything we
I
want to
think that's
drop.
great. Yeah. It's the kind of thing where I think, they did a really admirable job of trying to capture everything they could in one entity. And I kind of like, if I had a memento of that day, that would be one way of hanging on to something. But then I think about some of the coverage that people like, Luke Mogelson and who was it? Balash Gardi did, or Louis Palou did, and of course a lot of it was video, but it's just so powerful. And this is trying to, it's almost like in trying to do everything, they kind of hurt themselves, but anyway.
Yeah.
That's a really good, thank you for saying that.
Yeah.
This is out for me now.
Same.
Sorry.
Hey,
Thanks for clarifying that, Elizabeth.
yeah, powerful argument, Elizabeth.
So is that 3 outs?
Yeah.
Think
I
so?
think so.
Well, do not have an easy job today.
I feel like this has been the toughest by far, honestly.
Yeah.
It is hard.
I really like this one.
Me too.
Yeah. Yeah, this one's great.
Agreed.
Hey,
Nice work,
at that.
everyone.
Wow.
Way to go,
Give
team.
Brilliant.
yourselves a round of applause.
Okay.
All
So
right.
we've got,
Is there a way
Is
to
it 5?
there?
Wow.
Oh, that was me.
what is that first one again? Oh, right.
The
Okay.
Chauvin.
Oh,
Yeah.
what's the second? Oh yeah, this one. I feel like this, for some reason, this works really well, and they do great single page collages.
Yeah.
But that's really just like there's nothing more than that,
but for what it is, it's great.
It's really good.
The edit on this,
Yeah.
in terms
it's
of just
great.
like thinking about how many frames they had to choose from, I feel like they made really, really smart decisions about what images to include and what to weed out. I also really like the design of it, you know,
That's what I was going to say. I
the
like
Yeah,
the
three on
exactly.
design.
top, 3 on the side, 2 on
Yeah.
the bottom, that nice large photograph in the middle.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
And the focal length, they're like, we zoom in on the face on the far right between two crowd scenes that are the same
Yeah.
distance
Right.
away. You know, it's like, it's just
Right.
mwah,
Mhm,
beautiful.
mhm.
Yeah.
And reminder too,
Like-
that's what you all are here to talk about, is the tenets of photo editing is that consideration for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I could see, you know, I definitely responded very positively to this. I have to say, when that first front page came up, I actually felt tears coming into my eyes, just remembering kind of what it felt like that day. This, you know, that top picture really, I thought was very affecting. And I really like the design of the second page. I really responded very positively to this. I do have to say, looking at that collage, there are 2 or 3 pictures that are kind of similar, but it doesn't bother me because of what you all were saying about how the change, you know, some of the images that were close-ups had that change of scale that really broke them up, you know.
Mhm.
And what's
So,
also nice about this is the one picture of Chauvin is his back. Like it's not
Yeah.
about him.
oh, it's
Yeah.
interesting. That's interesting. Uh-huh.
That was my favorite, I think, kind of detail on the
Wow.
top.
Mm,
I was like, oh,
Huh.
right. This is not that this is bigger than him, but this is really about this community healing and this community finding
Right,
justice.
right.
Yeah. And I mean, a lesser editor might have well gone with the perp block, right?
Yep.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Or
Yep.
the mugshot, or
Right.
who knows.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think a lot of places did, and keep in mind, this is the city where it happened too.
Right.
You know,
Right,
in the state
right.
where it happened.
Uh-huh.
You know, I do hear you guys about there are a couple of similar images, like first image, fourth image, the one below the woman's face. They're all
Uh-huh,
very
right.
similar.
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
But that is what happened, right? That's the moment.
Yeah.
That's the flavor of the day. And I think also the unspoken part about photo editing is coordinating with your photographers to make sure they're out there to get all this,
Right.
and meeting deadline and print deadlines. You know, that doesn't just happen.
Right.
Yeah, but I think it really works because of the design for me.
Yes.
All right, shall we move to the next one with this in mind for an award?
Mhm,
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, I would definitely give this an award. Is it illegal to be looking up what other people did for this?
Yes.
Curiosity.
I'm not gonna call the cops on any of you.
Goodness.
So
Okay, cool, cool.
just don't tell me what you're just looking at. All I can
Yeah.
see is your view.
Looking at
I mean, there's-
nothing. I'm looking at nothing, but I really
there's
like what they did.
Yeah, but you know, and one last comment on that is I thought ending with the last image of the cemetery was really poignant also, and just
Yeah,
created again that quiet, you know, space graphically, you know,
Yes.
visually too. So
yeah. Okay, I'm sold.
Same.
Give this all of the awards go here.
I wouldn't say that, but
let's move on to the next and then start
top
placing
4
them.
at least.
right,
Yeah.
right.
Yep.
Mm.
Okay, I pushed this out now that we have.
I think I'm okay with this going out as well.
Yeah, because the other just felt so much stronger to me than this, but anyway.
I would actually, no, actually, I do want to keep this in if we have a spot for an honorable mention, because I think it's important
Okay.
to acknowledge this level of work.
You took the words right out of my mouth. I was going to say, I don't think this needs to place, but I think it should get an honorable mention.
Yeah. I mean, if we end up with a 4th slot open, I would consider
Yeah.
this.
But I
Okay.
will say, I really feel like you're rewarding more the idea of the dedication of the day after day after day thing. So in what you're really rewarding, in my mind, is their strategy and, you know, of entering all these things that are on successive days rather than the content itself. Because I would
Mm.
argue that there are a lot of other newspapers who did this kind of dedicated day-to-day coverage of whatever their local, issue might have been, but they didn't enter it this way, and so they're lost, right? But
Mhm.
anyway, that's just my observation.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Well, it also is interesting that like to some it's their loss and to others it might be their gain, right?
Right, exactly,
of it.
exactly.
I do think this is really making clear that it's something we should consider for future
Mhm.
categories. And I'll probably reach out to pick your brains after this.
I mean, I also want to just chime in and say there are some really good photographs in this package. Not all of them.
Right.
This one's
Some are more
great.
successful than others. But I
Yeah.
I think it's not fair to just say that it's, the strategy that's
Yes,
getting
no, because
potential
it's
honorable
more that I think it's really uneven. And I do think,
Yes.
Oriana, coming from you, where you usually are the first one to say, I've seen all these pictures before, I think it means a lot.
Yeah.
So,
I haven't seen all of these pictures before presented in this way.
right.
Let's hold on to this as a honorable mention contender then, right? It sounds like.
Sure.
And there will be a battle for that.
We'll see what happens.
Uh-huh.
Wait, can we go back out to the main list? Are we down to 5?
Yeah, we are.
We are. Okay. Just wanted to get a sense of where we're at. Okay.
One has to go. I really like this one
I like it too.
a lot.
I just
I
think, they
want
just,
to like it.
yeah, I know what you mean. I know what you mean, but it's just so unusual, that they would allocate their space in that way. But it really makes people pay attention,
Yeah.
and the outfits really conjure up people, it makes me feel like I'm coming into some kind of contact with some kind of living, identities that.
Yeah, the way these artifacts are photographed, they're imbued with a sense of life. And I think that's what was missing for me in the 9/11 images.
Oh, that's a good point, actually.
Just like the kind of care that was taken in lighting them and laying them out. Yeah, it's almost like you can start to imagine bodies filling
Right,
the
exactly.
clothing. And I don't, it's also just another lens of looking at the cost of migration that I don't know, I take for granted. It wasn't until I saw this, I think that I was like, oh, I'm not used to seeing this like evidence of people who were lost on their way. For
Is it
whatever
migration though, or
reason.
was it the
I
murders?
thought it was the drug murders.
Oh, is
Yeah, I
that
thought
what
it was
that
the
is?
drug- Yeah, I
Yeah.
think it is.
Oops.
So, yeah, they disappeared. They're just
Oh, that's right.
that
Yeah.
same.
Okay,
I
but here's a
actually-
question. Why
Uh-huh.
didn't they just do these still lives on a page with some text and then all of the other images on a page? Does anyone else think that the like layout's funky? Am I the only one who thinks it's like bottom heavy or something?
I mean,
can
that's
see that.
actually an interesting question. If they had done all the clothing on one spread and then facing it, had the more journalistic images.
Are these, or maybe is this a double page or is it single? Do we
It's a
know that?
double. Well, if you zoom in on, I think it says page 8, A8 up there. Is the other one A9?
Oh, it's a double page spread?
Oh, that's interesting.
I think.
That changes everything.
Okay.
Never mind.
A8. It's the
Okay.
other one.
Ah, okay.
Okay,
Yeah,
that makes
I
me
see
feel
it now.
better.
Oh, so it
Can you
is a
pull that other
spread.
tab? Is there like a way to
Yeah.
see them side by side? I'm giving the times like far too much.
Non-credit.
I think you might have to go back to the contact sheet
Oh.
to see them side by side.
Okay, all
But
right.
you want to see them as a double
That
truck
completely
together, right?
changed. I see. Okay. Oh,
Yeah.
I see now.
That actually does
Okay.
make a lot more sense. I mean, that feels a lot better, sure. So,
I like it.
me too.
Damn, this is really hard. It's not
I think for
expecting
me,
it.
this might be the first time I'm saying it today, but this is actually one of those stories that I've seen a few times.
Ah.
And I've seen this type of presentation done, not just for this story, but for missing migrants whose shallow graves are discovered in Texas. I've
Mhm.
seen this story after Syria with objects that people were leaving behind on the trail. I saw this with the migration stories in the Mediterranean. It's a thing I've seen a few times now. Is this done well? Yes. But I think what I'm struggling with is it's too much.
Mm.
I want less. I think there's a lot of clutter on this page.
Hmm.
Lavender,
feel
have you
like-
seen it? Oh, sorry.
I feel like I was going to say, I feel like I've seen a lot of those stories about, refugee or migrant artifacts also, but I don't feel like they were presented in this way exactly. But because I have seen that kind of thing, I totally agree. But also, a lot of times I don't see it against white in that same way, But
Yeah. It's funny that we're spending so much time talking about the top half of these pages, but we're not really talking about the bottom halves.
yeah.
That's kind of the clutter I was talking about. I feel like it's stronger without that foregrid, or that should have been on a different page if they could have got more space, or
Yeah, because I mean, these 4 images are really fantastic.
yeah.
It would have been nice to see them have their own space to be considered.
I almost would have preferred to see these 4 images replace the clothing up on top of them, so that you had clothing
That's
on one half of the
interesting.
page, and then you had, so it's kind of like 2 sides of the same coin, right?
Yeah.
So are these issues that some of you are having with this story enough to demote it to honorable mention or completely off the table?
I still like to see it get a 1, 2, 3, in that top sort of tier.
I feel like I'm on the fence now. I could go either way.
I feel like it's in 5th place for me right now, but I want to see how we talk about the next 2, just kind of get a better sense of where I think you should land.
Yeah.
Okay. Why don't we move on to the next one then, unless Emily, you had anything to add for it? Great.
Oh, this one is so good.
This is my fave.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really
Hands
like this
down.
one also.
Yep.
So could we go larger on each spread as we go through it? Do you mind?
Yeah, I feel like this is the one that's like number 1.
Oh, and it was shot for them. Icing on the cake.
I love this one, but I don't like that first image.
I was going to say it's a little expected for the first image, but it doesn't
Yeah.
really hurt it in my mind so much. It's just more like a missed opportunity. But
Yeah.
Yeah. I suspect that the headline decided what that photo was.
I think you're right. I think you're right.
The way these images are laid out is so good.
I just like that they selected the ones that they selected to be big. I really like that they picked those particular
Yes.
ones.
You know what's funny about these layouts? I don't normally like symmetry.
Oh, I agree, but I feel like it really works.
It actually works here, but it's like breaking the rules, but it works.
Mhm.
it sounds like we're in agreement about this being a top one or two or something there. So let's move on to the last one, and then we'll look at it all together and start to rank if that
Okay.
works.
Sounds good.
And hi to Emily's kid. Thank you for her time too. For their time.
Can we see these close up also?
That'd be good.
It's gonna be tough.
Mm-hmm.
This is my number one. I'll say it right now.
I think it might be my number 2, but
Oh man, that first shot is so good.
Yeah, this is a phenomenal job.
Yeah.
I mean, every page it just keeps getting better
So
for me.
good. Ugh.
Yeah, yeah.
This is the kind of stuff that like you get that itch and you're like, I gotta get outside and shoot something right now.
I feel like they could have dropped 1 or 2 images that were a little bit more old-fashioned and expected. Kind of it. Some of them do fit a little too neatly in that classic, person struggling kind of story. But I mean, I agree. It's a very nice,
Like
very nice
the
job.
hands on head looking at phone
That
shot.
kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
But overall, a really nice job. I'm sorry, what was
Oh, I
that last
love this.
photograph? Could I see that, with the caption?
So good.
It's a little bit also of a classic to try to end with an upbeat picture, right? Which is, not saying that's always
It's
a
funny
negative,
because
but
the description of this story in the caption that was read to us,
uh-huh.
it ended on a downbeat.
Hmm.
It talked about how she had gotten a settlement, but then
Right.
the money got depleted and she's kind of.
Right. I know, and that's why I was a little surprised it was an upbeat ending, but I also feel like that top picture, I don't know, it's just
Mhm.
kind of boring. But
Mhm.
What's the caption on that?
she's trying to seal her record.
Mm,
Oh, a ticket for child abuse. Interesting.
mm.
Oh man, this is gonna be hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's everything. Yeah.
Yep,
Yeah.
that should be everything.
Look at, before we leave that, oh, sorry, just the context sheet on that last story. I'm just saying, just look at the layout, and it's like not necessarily the most exciting layout, but anyway, sorry.
That's true.
I'm just mentioning that. So, but anyway, I almost wish that the third layout had been second and the second layout had been third, just to kind of mix it up a little,
Yeah.
to break up the
Some
last
variation.
2, but yeah. But anyway, but still a lot of really strong imagery in that.
Yeah.
Mm.
All right, shall we go back to the list of all 5 and try to see how we might negotiate those?
Let's do it.
It sounded like there were a couple contenders for 1, right? Or am I missing anything? And that would have been,
No, I think you're right.
No. Yeah.
Yeah.
that would have been
I
the highway one?
I like the Afghanistan Road of Death one, but
Yeah, the highway one.
yeah.
I think it's between those last 2, I think,
two?
for me.
Mhm.
And I'm kind of leaning towards that last one personally.
Okay, the votes for, how about, let's,
Same.
okay.
Yeah.
But they're both so good. Like somebody wants to argue it. You might sway me. I don't know. I'm that close.
I mean,
Actually,
go ahead, Orion. Uh-huh.
I'm changing my mind because now I'm just thinking about how good that layout is in the Afghanistan story
Mhm.
and how that also adds an element to the editing for me that I think is missing in the last story about the police settlement. But there are so many good images in the police settlement story that it kind
Yeah.
of does the heavy lifting for the layout. So I think out of everything that we've looked at, the piece that I think hits every single point perfectly for me is the Afghanistan story.
Okie
mean-
dokie.
Yeah, there's, for me, the last story, as strong as a lot of it is, there's just, it does, for me, it just doesn't come up to the same level. So,
You know what? I have to separate the photojournalism from the photo editing in my mind a little bit there.
Mhm.
And I think that's where I'm getting hung up a little because,
Hmm.
but I think I agree with you guys. I think the editing on the Afghanistan piece is outside of the front page. I think the inside of it makes up for it.
All right, I think we have a consensus. I think this speaks to how difficult some of all of your jobs are on a regular basis too.
Yeah, that's definitely first place.
So first and second, do we feel comfortable with that, or was there another contender for second that I'm missing?
I think that's right.
Yeah.
And then we
So
have,
just to clarify, Afghanistan is first.
Mhm.
Correct.
Okay.
Actually, I'm gonna throw a wrench in here.
Oh, no.
Sorry.
okay.
I think we should be considering the Chauvin story as a potential second. And this is again
Whoa.
thinking about
that is a wrench.
how the layout is also, the layout and the editing, I think, is just a little more refined than this police settlement story.
I would be really happy with
Mm.
that. I
Can-
didn't want to
can I
be
ask a-
pushing back when everyone else was going for that last one, but
Can I ask a question I keep asking? But are those, is the star story, are those all shot for them? Or is it all pickup?
I believe those are all.
Those are
I-
all
I-
Not
for-
this one,
No,
right?
Not this
not
one,
this
the other
one.
one.
yeah,
The Derek Chauvin
Yeah.
conviction.
right, that one. I just assumed it was photographed for them, although to be honest, I'm not sure it would make any difference to me, but
Yeah, it wouldn't make any difference for me, but I'm pretty sure it's all their own.
yeah. I mean, of course, the difference is that this was all photographed on that one day, right? And then the other one was probably photographed over a period of time. But,
Looks like it's
um,
all their staff photography.
Yeah, it's all their
Yeah.
stuff. Okay.
yeah. But I do feel like this is just stronger as a whole.
It's just
It just
so
doesn't have as
good.
many weak bits to it as the other one.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Great. Wrench it is. I'm
Oh,
down.
yes.
You convinced
Okay.
me.
Yeah.
Wait. Let me just.
Oh,
I'm gonna
Right,
tweak that
right.
wrench back the other way, just a smidge.
Yeah.
I still think that last one, for me, that it's just something about there's enough variety there. The story keeps moving. Yes, it's got a little bit of a layout issue, but the edit and the sequence works for me. And whereas one is like a collage of a day, the other one is a
Mhm.
story.
True.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree, but I just feel as if when you look at what is actually there, and not sort of consider the things that aren't there, I still feel like that first one just, I don't know, it just has more, cohesiveness and more of a sense of identity of itself as a story to me. But and
Yeah.
also, I guess I feel like the first, they're both predictable in their own way, but I feel like the first one, is still stronger, even with the slight repetitions. But
I definitely do agree with you, Shaminder. There are some really, really great photographs in the police settlement
yeah, no, I agree.
layout,
too.
and that's definitely what I'm drawn to too. It's just like, fuck, some of these
Mhm.
images are so good. But then when I'm looking
Yeah.
at it in the grand scheme of everything we're looking at, it's just not quite there with the layout. And that for me, like that's the tipping point.
Mhm.
Well, it's two very different. We've been saying this
It
whole
is.
time, right?
It
It's two
is, yeah.
very different briefs
Yeah.
here.
I was gonna
Right.
note,
And
this is general
Yeah.
news. Sorry to interrupt. This is the general news category. I think some of these stories are a little on the cusp of that, but it's sort of, up to you all as judges to
Hmm.
weigh this, keeping in mind that there's another feature story section that will be.
Lord have mercy on our souls.
I have some ideas on which to judge
Yeah.
next, but
Yeah,
Yeah.
with that in mind, that New York Times story seems kind of tangential, doesn't it? Is
It
that general
does.
news? I mean, that's
I
Depends
feel
on
like
how
all those murders were pretty, newsworthy, I thought, but I mean, I know it's been going on for a long time and it's been covered a lot, but
yeah,
that's why I like it that they found a different way to cover it. But-
yeah.
This is hard.
I was gonna
Yes.
try to challenge the wrench throwers here to say, if you had to drop one of them as the fifth, which would it be?
Oh,
Between which and which, or between all of them?
all
which
of them?
I mean, for
Well, we've
me,
got
I
one
would,
in,
yeah, I would drop the Dante Wright as the fifth, the one that went with many different daily.
Yeah.
sections.
Yeah,
I
I
would
have to
drop that
agree
out.
with that
So-
too.
I agree.
I'd put the Times as an honorable mention.
Yeah,
okay.
yep. I think that feels good.
And now
Um,
we're deciding second and third,
Second
right?
and third, yep.
I vote for the Chauvet story for your second place.
I would too.
I'm gonna vote for the police stories.
Okay. So it seems like you've been overruled, Shaminder.
Oh, I'm out of here.
Thanks for playing. No, I mean, this was a really good discussion and a really difficult decision. Does it sit all right with everyone?
I'm actually happy with,
Yeah,
in the end, we have 4 amazing stories to celebrate. So
yes.
Mhm.
I'm very happy
Absolutely.
with how it's landing.
Okay, great.
Absolutely.